It was inspired by someone else, right? So, and there are some advanced uses of the tree where when you have a group that can be stuck in their ideation process, you can make the growth rings not releases, but once an item is put here, the next area of the tree has to be the same item transformed and made better. And the same item transformed and made better, because that's what growth and evolution do. And so you can actually design this technique in such a way that you're helping people draw the third level and the fourth level of idea on a given topic to pull out even more creativity that is latent in them.
Exactly, and then I kind of saw that and I built on top of that, right? And I kind of asked her about why she chose athletes.
And because I have this context, and because we have a group and we have a goal, I can ask questions as a facilitator. Could you tell me about how it would be relevant to the group? Or how it would help the product move forward? Or how it would help, et cetera, et cetera. Well, maybe not, or just rotten sticky. I'm going to... Any questions on other facilitation techniques or other ideas on how this could be useful to you?
Yeah, I have one question.
Go ahead.
So we put the topics, you know, that we want to hear, but how do we prioritize those topics?
Well, that would be the next part of this. What we would do is we would take these ideas and we would probably shape them and look for overlaps and things like that. And then we eventually would do a prioritization technique. Either one of our techniques, an in-person like buy a feature or an online buy a feature, or you could do a survey, right? You could feed this into a survey and say, here are 5 speakers, pick the speaker you like. But you're confident now that the original source of the ideas was not you, it was your customers. And that's what we want you to do. Like I was talking with someone, Anjali, about certain kinds of traps that companies get into. We were working with a client and they're like, well, we do a lot of market research. I'm like, okay, great, show me your process. I'm like, tell me your, show me your process, tell me your process. Like, well, we get all of our product managers together and we brainstorm possible features. And we take those to customers and they write them. And we're not really sure why they're not liking what we're building. You guys, can anyone help me out? Shouldn't the ideas come from the customers? Or, and yes, some people will kind of complain, oh, Luke, you can't get ideas from customers. Well, yes and no. It's partially true and partially not true. What you really want to get from your customers are the unsolved problems or the benefits they'd like to get that you can then create or solve. But nonetheless, it's also true that in complex systems, customers know what they want. They understand their problems and they understand what they need as a solution to said problem. And they can tell you why, if you listen.
I just want to comment. This sounds great to me, and I'm going to buy your book and read it and try to use this in places. But I will say I have worked with companies where the product managers actually did a good job of soliciting that information from their customers so that they were representing the customer's voice. And then there's others where they think their own best ideas.
Don't hear me as throwing product manager on the bus.
And I've never been a product manager, but I've seen a huge variation in the ones who I trust are making up their ideas in the morning or are actually talking to real customers.
Yeah, and just like product managers see a huge variation in technical architects, people who write systems that slip and have security holes, and people who write systems that have graceful degradation and are bulletproof.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it goes both ways, right?
Absolutely.
So what the nature of consulting, if I have consulting friends in the room, is that you don't get called if everything's right. Jerry Weinberg wrote this great book called The Secrets of Consulting, and the first law of consulting is if they call you, it's a problem. Right? The first law of consulting is no matter what they tell you, if they call you, there's a problem. So my view of the world is often skewed. However, sometimes the problem is people know that they're venturing in new territory and they'd like to get some education or some help or whatever. But yeah, there's lots of great product managers out there. There's lots of great products. And what you guys should hear when you're hearing this talk is, here are some tools in your toolkit. Here are some techniques. And what's really nice about these techniques is that they're cheap, they're easy, and they're hard to screw up. You can get a really great result by using something really light. In fact, one of my favorite stories is if a friend of mine, Ed Burns, did one of the games in the Java community process, and you remember someone asked about how much money you distribute? He screwed it up. He gave away too much money, and his players said, Ed, we can buy everything, and that's not fun. They gave money back to Ed, and then they played the game.
Well, that's Java.
That's Java.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Your language.
Yeah.
That's the Java
Yeah.
guys.
.NET, it would be completely different.
I got all the money. You know, maybe taping me isn't such a good idea. You know, my wife is going to see this and she's going to go, oh,
He's having too much fun.
because you really aren't like that in public, are you? Yes, I am, babe. Okay, so now can I show you, you've gotten this experience of what it's like in person. I don't think we have enough laptops in here, but I want to show you some results of what it looks like when we do it online. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, and then maybe we'll do a few more things and we'll